Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, and this is your Western Conference Finals preview between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. We'll give you where we think the series is going, interesting angles, what to watch out for, props, how to bet the series game by game, things to look out for, what we think the totals are going to look like, all sorts of stuff. And everything we talk about could be found in the award-winning Action Network app. My Western Conference preview should be going up in the app shortly. It'll have lots more information, some of which I'll reference today, some of which we won't. Want to let you know that you should leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. If you could tell us why you like the show and tell us who your favorite analysts here at Buckets, between so many great ones we got, including the two I'm going to introduce you to in just a second, we're going to select a half dozen of our favorites, and the winner gets their choice of an Action Network merch from our online store, or even more valuable, a year pro subscription on the award-winning Action Network app. So again, just leave us a 5-star review on Apple. Tell us why you like the show and who your favorite analyst is. It doesn't have to be me. I'm not going to be hurt if it's not me. I'll be a little hurt if it's not me, but it's fine. It's fine. J Money, Joe Dolera, or one of the two we got coming up, Albert Wynn, the analytics capper, Brandon Anderson, NBA futures analyst. Do that, and you'll receive either Action Network merch from the online store or a year pro subscription on the award-winning Action Network app. All right, as I mentioned, join me on today's show, Albert Wynn, the analytics capper. You can follow him on Twitter at analytics capper, and NBA futures analyst Brandon Anderson. You follow AC on Twitter at Analytics Capper. Brandon's on Twitter at Wheaton Brando. Fellas, glad to have you on board. Lakers, Nuggets. This is a fascinating series. We have the number 1 seed in the Western Conference taking on the number 7 seed in the Western Conference. History says one thing. This season says another. The basketball is complicated. We got a lot to get to. Let's start by giving out our series best bets. I want to talk about what our series best bets are, and then we'll work backwards. We'll do the cap on it. Brandon, let's start with you. What are your series bets for Lakers Nuggets?
Yeah, I wanted to get complicated here, and I tried to find complicated bets. Just going to take the Nuggets. Just give me the Denver Nuggets to win the series. Minus 145. It's boring, but I will explain why I'm there. And then the one other slight complicated one, at our sponsor FanDuel, you can bet Denver to win the series and Jamal Murray to score 25 points a game at plus 210. I think I like that one actually a little bit better. We'll get into why.
AC, what do you like in this series?
Yeah, I'm going to align with Brandon there. I'm surprised he didn't choose Nuggets to win game 1 and Nuggets to win series. He likes those type of bets. But I think Denver is too much for the Lakers. Completely different team as compared to the Warriors here. They have, arguably the best player on the court in Nikola Jokic. I like Denver Nuggets on the series. We'll get into some of my angles later, but I do like a potential Lakers spot after game 1.
Let's make it 3 for 3 and just doom the Nuggets. I'm going to take the Nuggets series spread minus 1.5 plus 154. We'll get into why I like that the most. Let's start on the market side. So this is like an interesting market, I think, to look at, because typically if you had a number 1 seed versus an 7 seed here, this would be a lot heavier of a line, even the conference finals. Like, look on the other side of the bracket where the Celtics are like a minus 7,000 favorite versus the Miami Heat, a team that, was in the conference finals last year, right? But instead we have the Nuggets minus 155 at FanDuel, plus 130 for the Los Angeles Lakers. I want to go ahead and give my best bet cap real quick on this, and the reason I like the number, and then we'll get into the basketball stuff, Brandon. There's a lot of this is where I think a lot of the analysis on the NBA gets to, is you like a side, you think one team's going to win, and so you go like, but I don't want to seem like I'm so confident in them, so I'm going to say Nuggets in 7. Okay, that's a bullshit cap. Like, just telling you right now, anyone that does that, this is what they're actually telling you. This is a coin flip series, and I'm going to take the team that's home because they win most of the time at home. That doesn't actually mean you think that one team's actually better. It means that, well, I think it'll probably be a coin flip, and then one team is a little bit more likely than the other to win at home. What is that? Like, what is that? right? Like not every team is facing Joel Embiid in a conference finals game. Like, what are you doing? So my question here, I like -1.5 at a plus number here. And this is for the reason is because if you think the Nuggets are better, they are more likely to win in 6 than they are in 7. Otherwise, what you really should do is you should just play the Lakers on the money line plus 130. If you think it's going to go 7, play the Lakers at money line plus 130, and you will still have a hedge opportunity if you are really shook at the end to be able to get the end. You could, via the Mitchell rule, you can go ahead and you can lay the points with the Nuggets. Because if it's a game 7 in Denver, I can guarantee you the Nuggets will be less of a favorite than they are in game 1. You can also check out the game 1 cap in this episode. So I want to kind of like get into the thinking of why I think that that's important from a I do not think that there's when people are like, there's so many analysts. I'm looking at the ESPN predictions like, well, I'll just take Nuggets in 7. Okay. Do you think they're better or not? Because if you think that they're better, you should probably be taking them in 6. But if you don't, then you should this is the difference between like ESPN predictions and the betting perspective. You should just take the Lakers at plus 130 because at that point you're getting too good of a value versus the implied. Am I crazy here, Brendan?
No, I think you're right. And I would even go a little further, actually. I think if you're picking the Nuggets in 7, you're actually telling us you kind of think the Lakers might be better, but you're picking the Nuggets because they get game 7. Like you're picking the underdog to get 3 out of 6. But then game 7, we know how game 7s go. That's the game 7 rule. But like you've chosen the underdog team to be not the underdog, but dead even with the favorite. So I think picking Nuggets in 7 is not even really acknowledging a coin flip. I think you're actually saying, I actually think the Lakers are head to head here, which is fine. You can say that. Just know what you're saying. I tried, like I said, I wanted to get complicated here. I tried to figure out, okay, I like the Nuggets better, but where's the angle? And I wanted to do I consider this, Matt. I considered my bet being for a brief moment in time this weekend. My best bet for this episode was going to be enjoy this. Nuggets in 5, Lakers in 6, parlayed together. That was going to be my bet, that we'd get both of those, both sides. I actually think that maybe the most likely outcome for this series is it isn't as close as hard to figure out. Like I think after 2 games, we might actually feel pretty good about where we know where the series is headed based on what we've seen. We just don't necessarily know right now. We got the mystique and we have the bubble and we have the matchup stuff. I wonder if either Denver will have proven, okay, yeah, we're just the better team. We're the 1 seed, you're the 7 seed, that's that. Or the Lakers will do the Lakers thing and all the things we're worrying about will be true, and that's that. And then I think we get that result. So I think you're right. I think Nuggets in 7 is kind of the cop-out answer and is telling us very little about your confidence in Denver.
AC, do you agree with this stuff?
Yeah, I'll say this. If you like the Nuggets and you want like a cheaper price, I would look into like a Jokic Western Conference MVP. You'll get like 10 to 15 cents cheaper on your bet there. But another thing I'll say, if it gets to game 7, guys, I would say the Lakers would be one of my more confident bets. I just think that's at that point, narrative wise, NBA wise, in a game 7 with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all that experience, I would side with the road team there. So I would think that if the Nuggets are going to win, or if you like the Nuggets side, which all 3 of us do it in, less than 6 games, Nuggets in 6 or Nuggets in 5. I think those are good spots.
I emphatically disagree with you. Based off the fact
I do too.
based off of the fact that if it's close, who's the better team, AC? Like, who's the better team? If we know that the Lakers aren't better than Denver, they haven't won the series in 6 or less. If we know it's close, who's the better team?
No, I agree that Denver is the better team. I agree with that premise. I would say game 7, I think that the skill of the team is kind of thrown out the window a little bit, right?
But then we've got the fact that then we've got the home court advantage historically throughout the NBA.
Yeah.
So this is you're touching on something I want to get into here before we do the most important thing. This series is about the narrative of NBA history versus the basketball side. History says the Lakers are going to win the series. The Nuggets have never beaten the Lakers in a playoff series. Never. LeBron James. There was an analyst on a 4-letter network that said, you think that they're going to lose to the Nuggets? That was a thing that was said on a League Partners podcast by a writer I respect very much. Like, the narrative concept says the Lakers win this series. The basketball side says, get the fuck out of here. The Denver Nuggets are way better. Like, they're the Lakers can be better than the Warriors and better than the seed and better than people give them credit for and all that and still be way better. They have the best player theoretically in the series.
I'm also projecting though, Matt, because if we get to game 7, that means the Lakers have won 3 of the first 6 games. I think the better argument there would be subsided, because I think it'd be more of a coin flip. So in a coin flip situation, I think the safer money would be on LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime that you've got, like, we know that role players got to make shots in game 7. Anytime that you can take D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder in a game 7 environment in the biggest clutch moment, that's definitely, especially in Anthony Davis, dude, that's definitely what you want to do. Look, I think the Lakers can win this series. It's not that I don't think that they can win this series. I think trying to find the value in it's really interesting. Let's do the most important thing. Brandon, what do you think is the most important thing in this series?
So I don't have a great one here, but I'm going to go with this. The most important thing is that Denver has home court. Real stunning analysis by me, I know. So let me explain what I mean by that. And it kind of gets into what both of you have just been saying and lets me respond a little bit to both sides. So last series, I got wrong. Last series with the Lakers, I got that one totally wrong. The Warriors got the win. In particular, the thing that I got wrong that is going to stick with me.
The Lakers got the win. You were so wrong. You said the Warriors got the win.
Yeah, well, I have my mind told. I have to believe what I have to believe, Matt.
Go ahead.
What I said in the series, Matt, you and I both took Warriors, but the thing we disagreed on is you thought shorter series, I thought longer series, and the reason for that's not me victory lapping. We both got it wrong. I thought the Warriors would win late in the series because on the every 2 days thing and having a home game 7, that's where I thought it was going to really matter. That didn't happen, but I still think that we're in a similar spot here with Denver. And now we're in the elevation and a team that I think is even better at home this year than the Warriors, as good as they were at home. Mm-hmm. And so the home road split thing, I think, matters a lot, especially because, again, the Lakers, Anthony Davis and LeBron are just putting on huge miles. And I don't think it's any analysis at all to say LeBron does not look like the old LeBron that he has been. You can decide, is that the age or is it the foot? It's some combination. It's both of the things. I don't know how much. Maybe LeBron knows how much. That's it. And maybe the LeBron of foot doctors. Those are the only 2 people that know how much it is. But regardless, the numbers tell us this is LeBron's worst playoffs that he's ever had before. That's not slander. He is incredible. He's been amazing all the playoffs. The numbers still say that the version, the hagiography LeBron we talk about, it's not there right now. Maybe he can pull on it for a quarter or for an occasional game 6 in the closeout. He's great. He's still great. He's still a great player. But that LeBron we talk about, the MJ version of LeBron we talk about, I said it. It's not there right now. Anthony Davis has had all the injury history, all those things like that. The longer the series goes, the harder it gets. So home game 7 matters a lot. I specifically chose Denver series, not the other versions, not the -1.5. Matt, I think you actually should go to -2.5 if you really like Denver, because again, home court game 5 versus road game 6. I didn't choose those because the more analysis I did, the closer I actually thought the series might be, the less I thought the gap between these teams actually is in basketball, not just narrative, and I want the game 7. That said, I'm worried about game 1. And AC, you said you expected me to come out with Denver game 1, Denver game 1 and the series. Game 1 to me is actually a pivot point for Denver, and it is the spot where I worry most about them winning the series because of what we've seen from the Lakers game 1, the last 2 series. And it's the one spot that all the rest stuff I just said, it's the one spot, all that's out the window. The Lakers, I think, are going to know we come in, we punch them in the mouth physically, we show them a different version of defense than they've seen for a month of basketball. We steal this one, and oh, baby, we're right there. We have a chance. So to me, I'm tiptoeing a little bit into the series because I don't feel confident about game one. The longer it goes, the better I'll feel about Denver. Game 7, I'll feel great about Denver. I'll take them right now. Game 1, despite it being at home, because home court's so important to me, the fact that I don't love Denver in that spot makes me a little tepid on the series overall.
If you want to bet the Lakers plus 280, Lakers game 1, Lakers series is the bet. That's my opinion. Is that if you want to bet the Lakers, that is the bet to make. Like, if they take game 1, the series tilts dramatically, not just in terms of the historical percentages, but because it means that the Lakers have done the exact same thing that they've done in the first 2 rounds. Steal game 1 on the road. They'll back off in game 2. They'll dominate at home in 3, maybe 4, and then have a chance to just win one more game, and then they're good. And then on the other side of it is, like, their percentages go, I think, way down. If Denver's able to maintain like, they just win their home games, they win the series, like Brandon said. So, like, I think if you like the Lakers, you should absolutely be on Lakers game 1 plus 280. I'm curious, AC, let's go ahead and get to this, and then we can do your most important thing. What do you think about the game 1 impacts on this, and what's your actual Lakers counterplay?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of disagreement today, which is great, right? That's the whole point of these type of podcasts. But I'd say because the Lakers won game 1 in the first series against Memphis, they won game 1 in the second series against Golden State. I'm a contrarian better at heart. I like to buck the trend. I like the Lakers. Again, I guess my way of saying it is games 1 and 2 to me is like a collection. It's like a partnership. So to me, it doesn't matter if they win 1 or 2, as long as they get one of them. And in my opinion, I think then game 1 is just way more meaningful for Denver. It's their first conference finals in Denver in a really, really long time. I think that type of energy, they've been at home waiting for the Lakers. I think from an emotional standpoint, the Lakers coming off a really nice win against Golden State, and the whole LeBron Steph narrative and all that was very, very overblown. But I think a lot of your young players are going to read into it. So I think, in my opinion, I think the Nuggets are going to come out really, really strong in game 1. And that's when you have the opportunity to jump into the Lakers. Whether you want them to win the series, you'll get a really, really nice number there. Or Lakers plus 1.5 would probably be around plus 100 or minus 110, something like that. So in my opinion, I mean, it's going to be one of my best bets later, but I like Denver game 1. And then after that is when you'll find opportunities to back the Lakers. And again, another disagreement here. I think the longer the series goes, I think that's when the experience part comes in, because I'm sure the age and the fatigue and the elevation, all that plays a part. But I think LeBron and even Anthony Davis, to a lesser extent now, has gotten to the point where they are really, really savvy on when they conserve energy within a game. And I think LeBron and AD, as the series goes on, they're only going to get better. Whereas the Nuggets, who are going to be pressing, who's going to be running, and really going to try to, shoot threes down your throat, I think they're going to be the more fatigued team towards the end.
I disagree entirely with that. I have no idea where you're getting that from. Like, one, you want to take the Lakers longer in a series where there's more opportunities for Anthony Davis to get hurt.
I mean, I can't handicap health, right? I can't handicap health. I mean, I know if it goes to game 7.
We can't handicap health with like Aaron Gordon. We can't handicap health with Dennis Schroeder. We can't handicap health with. We can handicap a little bit with this one particular person.
I series goes longer. If it goes 6 or 7 games, that means the Lakers are playing well, and that's just gonna build my confidence.
I agree, but here's one problem with that though. The Lakers have managed their. You're right that they've managed their effort a lot in these playoffs, AC, when they've been on script. Steal game 1, give up in game 2, no worries, we're going to downshift. 3, we get up for it. 4 is tight. Downshift in game 5. Back up in game 6 at home. You get them behind in a series, and that alters it, right? If it's 2-0, Nuggets, that changes dramatically the indication of it. You're right, they could steal game 2. Maybe that's like the twist here, is Denver takes game 1 emotion, and then the letdown game is game 2, and that's when the Lakers hit them with like a higher level of energy, and then they just like they push 2, 3, 4, and they win 3 straight. Can the Lakers win 3 straight versus Denver? It's a lot to ask. That's a lot to ask. Can they win 3 of 4 versus Denver? It's a lot to ask, honestly. But like I could see it happening. Again, like the narrative, I understand all you're saying about like with like the legend of LeBron. Like again, if you want to bet the narrative is you should just bet the Lakers because like the Lakers win these games. The Lakers, if you just bet the Lakers blind every single season, you'd be up since 2000. It's my favorite NBA betting stat. If you just bet the Lakers in preseason blind, you would still be up money. They had the worst 5-year stretch in franchise history. You'd still be up. Like the arc of history bends towards the Lakers. I will say one thing that's significant about like when we talk about the history, because I actually looked at this. Did you know that LeBron actually hasn't been a dog that often? Like that sounds obvious because it's like it's LeBron, but I would have thought that from Cleveland all the way through, there would have been more series where he was an underdog. And instead, when I actually looked it up, 2018 Raptors conference semifinals. Yeah, he was a dog in that series. The Warriors in 2016, the 2012 Thunder, they were dogs at Thunder. I still can't believe that. And the 2007 Pistons series. Those are the times when he's won as an underdog. That's it. He's won 4 times in his entire. Now you say like he hasn't been that much. It's true. Like he hasn't been in dog much, but that gives you kind of more reason to think that like when we talk about the history, the Lakers are the same way. I looked at how often the Lakers have been dogs. It hasn't happened very often. Like this is significant in that, well, yeah, the Lakers have won a lot. They've been the best team most times. It's hard to argue that they are that in the spot. My most important thing for the series is Anthony Davis versus Nikola Jokic. That's another like Brandon did with home court. Like, wow, what analysis, AD versus Jokic. But it really is that important. If AD is the best player in the series, if you think AD will be the best player in the series, you should bet the Lakers. If you think Jokic will be the best player in the series, you should bet him to win conference finals, like AC said. That is a great cap that you should just bet Jokic to win conference finals MVP. The Nuggets can't win this if Jokic is not conference finals MVP. The Lakers can win it if Davis isn't conference finals MVP. If LeBron has a throwback. Brandon gave you all the reasons why that's unlikely, but a lot of this is if Jokic's good offense beats AD's great defense, then that starts to shatter a lot of what the Lakers are, right? And like some of that we'll have to admit is like, look, Steph Curry couldn't do it. Steph Curry got put on an island versus AD and couldn't do it. He was tired. He was worn out. They went 7 games, but like, do you think that Nikola Jokic can do something Steph Curry could not? If we present in those terms, bet AD, like bet on AD, bet on the Lakers. Like there are ways to approach the series where you don't have to just agree with what our caps are, which we all like the Nuggets. So I'm curious here, AC, you've said a lot of these things. My question is, why are you on the Nuggets if you feel the way that you do about the Lakers?
Yeah, so I agree with you guys. The Nuggets are the better team. I'm on the Nuggets series, but again, I reiterate this point. The longer the series goes, it just means that the Lakers are playing better than we thought, or the Nuggets are not playing as well. Because I think from a discrepancy team level standpoint, the Nuggets are vast superior. Like they are the better team. They're the number 1 seed. You're not going to get a number minus 145 on a number 1 seed very often. So this is great value in general. But I think if it goes 6, 7, it means a few things. It means that LeBron potentially is having a throwback series. It means Anthony Davis is potentially neutralizing Nikola Jokic. Matt mentioned Anthony Davis defense. I think his offense is just going to be just as important, right? He's going to have Jokic play defense and expend some energy on that side of the court. So I mean, if it goes 6 and 7, I just feel like the playing field levels out, and I think that's where I'm going to be a little more confident on the history, on the experience. That's it. But as far as like heading into the series right now, Denver is better. I like Denver minus 145, minus 155 now at most shops. I think that's still great value for the number 1 overall seed.
Brandon, I can't get to you. You mentioned kind of like if I should take the 2.5. I can't see, like you asked me if there's no scenario I can see where I'm like, yeah, LeBron loses in 5 games to this Denver team. 6, I'm like, okay, like tough series, but the Lakers were able to get the Nuggets were able to get game 6 on the road. Like that seems doable to me. Like the Nuggets home court held out. They were great at home. They won 1, 2, and 5. And then they were able to get past the Lakers in a tough game 6. I can't get like even with all of the Nuggets are better and all these types of things, I can't get to a spot where I'm like the Lakers are only going to take one game off of Denver, which again, I'll say this, I've made impassioned arguments here on this pod. This is all of them make me feel queasy. All of them. Every scenario here makes me feel queasy about this series.
Yeah, I guess to respond to that, Matt. So the the Nuggets in 6, Nuggets in 5. I think in either scenario, you like to kind of predict out how does each game go. And I think if you're doing one of those, you got to choose kind of the path. I think in either spot, you're going to give Denver game 1, game 2, game 5, all 3 home games, and then need 1 road game, right? So really what you're telling me, if you want Nuggets in 6, not in 5, is I think Denver can win game 6, a road closeout game of LeBron's team. I think they have a better chance to win that version of a game than steal one of the 2 in Los Angeles after, by the way, they went up 2-0. And we've seen from LeBron, we've seen in spots before where he is the underdog, where he kind of gets that look of like, all right, you got me. That's not the Philadelphia thing. It's not that.
Right.
But LeBron is a basketball genius, and he understands when he got. And if we're right that Denver's the better team, and it's 2-0, and it's 2-0 like in a heavy way, I don't know that. Like to me, that's why I think we could get a Nuggets in 5 situation where it's like, okay, yeah, you got us, especially to maybe Davis doesn't get a big injury, but he stubs a toe or something, and it's just a little bit less effective again. Maybe the foot thing for LeBron starts to come up again. These are existing injury things that can lessen. To me, that's why I think it could trend that way. I want to talk the 4 factors thing a little bit because, Matt, that's my thing.
Yep.
This is where I got a little bit of a concern here digging in. Not concern as much as I wanted to just come out Nuggets -1.5, Nuggets -2.5, Nuggets everything. Like Lakers, get them out of here. That's what my heart felt after the Warriors won the series, right? That's how I felt after that. I know, the Lakers. That was on purpose. I don't think it's that. And the 4 factors stuff that concern me a little bit are 2 things. And one I should have mentioned with the home court. Fouls are going to be a thing. We know this because it's a thing with the Lakers. They are number 1 in free throw rate. They are number 1 defensively in least free throws allowed. Denver's offense is not quite like Golden State's, but they don't go to the line a lot. That's not how their offense is built. So we're going to get a lot of games where we're like, oh my gosh, the Lakers have 30 free throws and only 12 for Denver. How did this happen? Well, how it happened is because that's how the Lakers play. It's coming, but it's going to happen even more in Los Angeles with the home court advantage because that's how court advantage works. That's like the biggest part of home court.
It's how the Lakers play. Like, it's how the Lakers play needs to be heavily.
He's doing air quotes for those of you listening to this
on the podcast. Great stuff.
It is though how they play. Like they're getting into you, they're bodying you, they're mucking it all up on both ends of the court.
Physically dominating player that Austin Reeves is. Anyway, go ahead.
They're earning the whistle. That's part of why I think home court matters a lot. If the Lakers can steal one of these first 2 games and now be like, all right, man, let's just go in front of the home court with all the fans and the whistle. We're going to get a better favorable whistle at home. And we can just win those 3. We're done. That's where I get a little concerned. The other part is Denver offensively, by the 4 factors thing, Denver doesn't really get to the line a lot. They don't really dominate on rebounding. The turnovers thing I think will be interesting. The Nuggets actually turned it over a bunch in the regular season comparatively, surprising amount, but they've been number 1 least turnovers in the postseason. Lakers didn't force many turnovers in the regular season, but they've had more now. They're playing the Warriors. So I don't know about some of those things. Matt, you have a point here?
Yeah, I got 2. So the turnovers thing I think is interesting because they basically face 2 teams that don't force a lot of, like the Wolves force a ton of turnovers and didn't.
Yeah.
But you can just say like, well, the Wolves are the Wolves and they just weren't that good. Okay, fair. The Suns don't force any turnovers at all. Like a lot of the series gets into like, dude, what do you believe? I do want to ask you about the rebounding. What's the angle on rebounding? Because the Nuggets in the regular season were 11th in opponent offensive rebound percentage on NBA.com. And in the playoffs, they've been even better. In the playoffs, they are 2nd in opponent offensive rebound percentage. So like the 4 factors is mostly, if you're like going back to Dean Oliver's, famous book, Basketball on Paper, It's less about how many you create, and it's like, do you allow the opponent to grab a bunch of offensive boards? And the Nuggets don't. They're a great defensive rebounding team.
Right. And I'm more focusing on the offensive side in this. Like I'm looking at the when Denver has the ball and is trying to score side.
Okay.
And the Lakers rebounding has been very strong too, and especially stronger since they picked up all the guys midseason. So
I mean, they're ninth in the playoffs in opponent offensive rebound percentage.
yeah. I mean, ninth is average in the playoffs. There's 16 teams. 11th for you quoted for Denver. 11th to me is effectively average in the regular season. Like that's not a good stat. That's not bad, but it's just kind of like, you're in the middle of the group.
Well, 11th out of 30 has got to be better than 9th out of 16, right?
Well, sure, by a little bit, but like not necessarily by a meaningful amount.
Okay.
Either way, I think the rebounding and turnovers are battles to be watched. The key part here is the two things that stood out is number one, Denver's offense isn't great because of any of those other things. The turnovers, the rebounds, the free throws are not great from all that. They're great because Nikola Jokic plays God mode and turns every shot they take into 63% true shooting. That's it. They're great for that reason. Their EFG is through the roof on every shot that they take. Threes, twos, all of it. It's all Jokic. The one thing that I don't really understand still about the Lakers, and I keep on winning, and I've talked to you about it in the group chat, Matt, I'm like, is it the bubble Lakers again? Their defense just crushes teams' EFGs. They just don't let them get their efficient shots off. And that the numbers are so strong in the Lakers' defensive favor that it makes me be like, probably an outlier. Maybe teams are just missing shots. Oh, the Warriors missed all the shots on the road. It happens. I see that. That's what my brain sees. But when it happens and happens and happens, game after game, series after series, for the whole end of the season, and this version of the Lakers we saw before, as an analyst, I have to take that seriously and be like, okay, I don't know what's happening, but something may be happening here. So I did look at this. The two things, free throws and EFG. Denver this season, when they played the Lakers, the Sixers, and the Mavs, who are the top three free throw teams in the regular season, they actually were really good at not fouling those teams. They were really good at limiting their fouls and not letting that be a storyline. Their free throw rate went down and all those. So that made me encouraged. However, when they played teams that had great defensive EFG, Memphis, Milwaukee, Boston, Cleveland, right? We all agree those are great defenses. When they played those teams, occasionally they just cruised and they scored what they wanted. But many of those games, their EFG dropped to like 50% or below. So there's a little part of me that worries, are we positive that this Jokic thing and the Jokic offense is ready for the best of the best defenses in the playoffs? I'm not positive I'm there yet. And I think that could be, if it's Lakers a week from now and we're looking that way, I think that would be the story is, it's just not as easy. The Lakers are mucking it up and they're forcing everything to be like a second too slow. To me, that's the concern and why the Lakers would have a chance in the series.
Yeah, I mean, look, if AG is missing a bunch of threes, if KCP can't hit, if Jamal Murray can't hit shots off of clean looks in the drop coverage, if he just doesn't hit shots, like, yeah, if the Nuggets miss shots, they're going to lose. They're a team that makes shots. That's what they do because they create great offense. And the counter, I think, here would especially be, the Lakers deserve credit for having the resiliency to make the playoffs. I do not trust the post All-Star numbers for the Lakers. I know what their strength of schedule was, and it was messy. Like, this is a big question here, is like, again, I'm not 100% convinced on this. This is going to make it sound like I'm more convinced that the Lakers aren't as good. I'm very nervous about the series for the Nuggets perspective. But what I do want to say is, like, the Warriors all season, this is what they said to us. Yeah, we're not very good offensively. We're middling. We're middle of the pack. We're especially not a great half-court team. The Grizzlies all year, what have we said all year? All year, AC, what do we talk about with Grizzlies? Half-court offense sucks. Can't score. Like, the truth is, your point is real, Brandon, but it's accurate on both sides. The Nuggets have not faced a defense like this. The Lakers have seen nothing offensively like Denver, which is, if AD is like, I'm going to patrol the paint, you're not going to get any points in the paint. Joker's just going to splash short-range jumpers on you, pick and roll every time. The floater, every time. Like, he'll score 40 on you. That's what he'll do. He'll just do that. He showed that. You come up, you're like, I'm going to shut him down. Guess what? The back line's open. Now you got cutters, and you got movement, and you got threes, and you got guys that can hit contested threes. You have KCP, MPJ, Bruce Brown on the floor at almost all times. 2 of those guys on the floor at almost all times. And those are all quality shooters. If they miss shots, then you're right. I just don't know how to cap that, right? I just don't know how to cap it from this perspective. This is what makes it difficult, because you are right. It's just like, I can explain how the Lakers' playoff success relative. They're very good. Like, they're awesome. They're elite. They're an elite defense. They play the Grizzlies that can't score in the half court. We've done that all year. We've done that for 2 years. That's why we faded them constantly. They play the Warriors. We bet the Warriors because we were like, well, Game 7, they've never lost a Western Conference playoff series, and like they'll make all the threes. And then Klay Thompson turned into dirt. And then Steph Curry turned into dirt in Game 6. If Steph Curry and Klay Thompson don't make threes, yeah, the Warriors are going to lose against most teams. Like, that's going to happen. Let's do prop angles quickly here. AC, I just want to ask you from a betting perspective, are there players that you think are really going to be pivotal and will have good opportunities in the series from a props perspective?
Yeah, we talked about a little bit about this offline in our group text, but I think the swing player for the series, just like Aaron Wiggins was in the finals, it's going to be Aaron Gordon. Andrew Wiggins, but I think it's going to be Aaron Gordon for the Nuggets. The reason being is he's going to be called to play elite defense, a little bit on Anthony Davis, a little bit on LeBron James. I'm sure he's going to be switching on guys like Rui, even D'Angelo Russell in the pick and roll, guys like that. So he's going to have to be a top tier defender, which he played really formidable, against Devin Booker and Kevin Durant in the previous series. But then he's also going to have to hit timely shots. You guys talk about the Lakers defense, and LeBron and Darvin Ham they're going to scheme their defense to make these type of players beat you. They know Jokic is going to go for his 40, 10, and 10. They know Jamal Murray is going to get his 20 to 25, but they're going to force the Aaron Gordons of the world or Harrison Barnes back in 2016 of the world to hit open threes to really beat them. So if Gordon is shooting well, I think Nuggets are going to win very quickly, to be honest. If he's struggling offensively, I think this series is going to get dragged out. So my swing player is Aaron Gordon.
LeBron has picked up a nasty habit, as good as the Lakers defense is. He's doing the 2018 Cavs thing, where when he's parked in the corner, he's coming way up in pick and rolls to help. He's going to not do that. If he does that versus the Nuggets, they will annihilate them, because AG is cutting backdoor every single time, and Joker's throwing easy cuts underneath for reverse dunks, like every single time. Now, if he kind of plays middle, right, that dare AG to hit threes, it's probably a good approach. AG hit threes in Game 1 versus Phoenix, didn't really hit them for the rest of the series. Like, if AG hits again, that's like a pressure point that they will definitely try and exert. I will say one of the good things about Denver is that, unlike some of the Houston teams where it's like, well, we're going to have these open threes and we hit them or we don't, the Nuggets are not built that way, where they're like, we will keep running options until we get something high, like high rhythm, high percentage.
And the contingency on that is no team has ever had a Nikola Jokic. I don't think people realize how good this guy is. He could play any style offensively. You could grind it out, or you could play in a fast-paced, open three-point shooting type of style, and he can excel in all phases. So this is you guys mentioned it. The Lakers had great defense in the playoffs. This is 20 steps up in terms of their offensive competition in the Nuggets.
Yeah. But that said, AC, I mean, he didn't lead the league in scoring, so was he really that good at all? Brandon, your props angles for the series.
I want to ask you a question, Matt, before I do a prop angle here. There's a lot of talk about the Jokic will get in foul trouble against Anthony Davis.
Yep.
So I want to know what you think about this, because in the bubble, when they played, he got in foul trouble basically every game.
On bullshit calls, by the way.
Well, welcome to the Lakers. Yep. So let's not just throw that out.
No, I'm not.
But in those games, Jokic had 4 fouls twice, 5 fouls every other game. This playoffs, he has 4 or less fouls all but one game. Do you think, look, 2020 is a long time ago in Nikola Jokic's career. He's won 2, should have been 3 MVPs since then. Do you think Jokic foul trouble is a storyline that we're going to get?
Absolutely 100%, because he's playing the Lakers. Look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have this conversation. I don't. I really wish we could avoid this. There's only one team that I really think that this is a thing with, and it's this franchise. It's this franchise which has always generated an insane amount. The free throw differentials in the playoffs alone are mind-boggling. And the hoops that people jump through to try and justify it are a joke. Like, they get a good whistle. That's a reality. If the Nuggets are going to win the series, they're going to have to overcome it. There will be at least 2 games in the series where Nikola Jokic is in foul trouble. And if it's 3, they probably lose. That's how narrow this is.
So I asked that because I think to 3 prop angles I'll mention quickly. 2 of them are Nikola Jokic's overs, and that makes me a little queasy to bet a Jokic over if there's a chance where, 5 minutes in, foul number 2, is he coming out? Is he going to play the rest of the first half? Yada yada. Like, I'll be careful there. So I like the idea of Jokic getting a lot of assists. That to me is a Denver wins the series prop. If Denver is playing well, I think it's because Jokic is kind of pulling Anthony Davis away from the basket, getting him out toward the perimeter, and then picking things apart underneath, where the Lakers' 2-point defense wasn't as strong as it could be. And that's what I kept thinking that's what the Warriors would do. And they did. They did it really well in their wins. And when the Lakers beat the Warriors is because they didn't get Davis away from the hoop. Jokic is a different animal, and I think he can do that. I think correlating a Jokic assist with a Denver win is a good way to go. Similarly, I like Jokic threes. I think especially early in the series, and we'll talk about this in the Game 1 pod, I like him to fire away in an effort to bring Davis away from the basket, make him come out and guard me. And then back to my other best bet from the series, I don't know if it's really an X factor, but to me, it's Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray has to score in the series. And if Jamal Murray is scoring in the series, he's going to get his chances, then Denver is winning. So my favorite bet actually still has been Murray, 25 points a game, Denver to win the series. I think those are highly correlated. It's plus 210. I only have to hit the Murray points per game 55% of the time for that to be a better value than just playing the Denver series. His line, you can just bet an over-under on his line is 25.2. So they're telling you that's basically where we expect him to be. His average is 25.9. He's going to get the shots. He's going to get those DHOs. They're going to be focused on Jokic, and Murray's going to get his shots up. The Lakers allow a lot of 3-point attempts, and I think he's going to get those jumpers. I think Murray has to score. I think he has like a 40-plus game at some point this series. I like Murray a lot. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it game to game because we don't know when the shots fall, but I think big picture, Jamal Murray and Denver winning the series go very well together.
Before we get out of here, AC, what's your confidence level in the Denver pick? What's like a percentage? Like, how confident do you feel in Denver winning the series?
Percentage wise, that's tough to quantify. I think Denver hits all the checkpoints. They have the best player in the series. They have the better team. To me, they have the better coach, and they have home court. So I know you guys talk about your 4 factors, but Denver is, in my opinion, superior in almost every way. So I wouldn't say this is a 10 out of 10, but I'm confident in all my reads. I like Denver a lot.
Brandon, what's your confidence level?
I'm going to give you a 6.4 out of 10 because I have the Nuggets at 64% to win the series. So that's why I like them on the series. They're 59% implied. Normally, my numbers have a much bigger gap. I texted you the Nuggets in 4, Nuggets in 5, and 6 and 7. Like I do all my numbers alone, and then I check the books. My numbers are real close to the books on this, and that is not normally the case. Normally, I have some wonky thing I did, and I have, to my creditor's discredit, some totally different result. I'm not betting fully on this series because my numbers are pretty close to the books. I see a slight edge to Denver.
Plus 154 from the Nuggets minus 1.5, which in my opinion is the Nuggets are better, right? Instead of a coin flip. The implied on that is just 40%. And so like I will say 58% I've got the Nuggets. It's like that's my
but implied your confidence in Denver has to be the highest of the 3 of us to take that bet. Would you say that that's true?
No, because I think it's more about how I think about the series.
Okay, that's fair.
So, like I said, I'm not. What I hate about this is when I sat down and thought about it as soon as the Lakers won Game 6, is I was just like, I was like, I wanted to bet the Lakers because of the narrative. All stuff AC talked about. I want like the Lakers win the series. That's what they do. They win the series historically. The Nuggets do not win the series. From a basketball standpoint, the Nuggets are better. They should win the series. So we'll see what happens. Let's get right up for your Western Conference playoff preview. We'll have game 1 best bets in the feed for you as well. We also have the Eastern Conference Finals preview tomorrow, so make sure to check that out, as well as game 1 best bets. We'll have WNBA episodes throughout the week as WNBA starts to get going. Appreciate you guys joining us. You can follow AC on Twitter at Analytics Capper. Brandon's at Wheaton Brando. I'm at HP Basketball. Our thanks to David Payne. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, get buckets. Enjoy the Western Conference Finals.